Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. We are so excited that you were able to join this call and that you're interested in learning more about the Loma Verde Rec Center. My name is Patricia Furman. I am the Principal Landscape Architect in Development Services and also the Project Manager. We have a great team here today to present the project to you and to share with you the progress that we have made in the last few months to design a portion of the Loma Verde Rec Center. For now, I'm going to start the slide presentation, and I'm going to turn my video off just temporarily so that you can see the full screen, and I can see it as well. Hold on a sec. Wonderful. I hope you all can see this and hear me. The center is located on Loma Lane in Chula Vista, north of East Orange Avenue and east of Hilltop Drive, between the Loma Verde Elementary School and the Rienstra Sports Complex. The center is within the Loma Verde Park, which is approximately 6 acres, with a playground, parking, and open space. The center is approximately 48,000 square feet and was built in the 1970s. Over the years, it has been remodeled and repaired as needed, but with a lack of comprehensive vision. For example, the center went through renovations in 2000 to improve the accessibility for persons with disabilities, and in 2002 to renovate the pool. However, sections of the center have fallen into disrepair due to limited maintenance funding. For example, the building has leaky roof, broken tiles, and outdated fixtures. In 2019, the city collaborated with JV Architecture to engage the community and to develop a program concept for the center. Now I would like to introduce Karina Craig and Tim Farmer. Karina is our Loma Verde Aquatic Supervisor, and Tim Farmer is our Parks and Recreation Administrator. They will be able to share with you more information about the outreach effort that happened in 2019. Karina?
Thank you, Patricia. Throughout this past year, the city has held several successful community outreach events and meetings, discussion groups, in order to get the community's feedback on design elements for the new Loma Verde complex. I'm sure many of you have had the opportunity to participate in one of these events. Next slide, please. The city engaged residents and community groups to identify, prioritize, and select recreational features for the complex. There were many community events, meetings, and discussion groups where the participants employed preference exercise to provide input for the facility. During these events, participants were given several options for programs, features, and amenities for the new Loma Verde complex. Participants were able to select the options that they felt should be prioritized in the design of the future center. I was directly involved with the community meeting held at the Loma Verde Recreation Center in June of last year. I had the pleasure of being able to see firsthand what the community's vision was for the new Loma Verde complex. Next slide, please. In addition, an online survey was made available in both English and Spanish via the city's website and posted on social media. It was also emailed to all persons subscribed to receive city notices and newsletters. Participants from the Loma Verde Aquatic Center and Recreation Center were also asked to complete the survey. The purpose of the survey was to determine preferences for programming areas, relative importance of various amenities, and to gauge interest in different types of programming for all age groups. We received great feedback from all of the community outreach events and the survey. As you will see in this presentation, many design elements that were requested by the community during these events have been incorporated into the design of the future Loma Verde complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Karina. So with the input received from the participants, it shaped a program concept, which includes a list of amenities that have been used to develop the schematic design that we're about to present. In order to develop the program into a design, the city issued a request for proposals to a list of pre-qualified design-build firms, and in April, the City Council approved the resolution to enter into an agreement with EC Constructors for the design and pre-construction services of a portion of the Loma Verde Rec Center. EC Constructors have significant experience working on projects, including the city's fire stations 5 and 9 and the Millenia Fire Station. In addition, Jeff Katz Architecture has worked on various city recreation centers, including the Salt Creek Community Center in Eastlake. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Jim Summers, EC Constructors President, and Jeff Katz, Principal in Charge, to share with you the schematic design.
Thank you, Patricia. On behalf of EC Constructors and Jeff Katz Architecture, very pleased to be here tonight to present the schematic design that our team has worked closely with the city to develop. As Patricia said, we together have years of experience doing projects for the city, and we're very excited to be working with the Loma Verde community to renovate this facility. So the slide you see on the screen is the floor plan of the existing facility. And on the left or west side of the screen is the recreation functions. And on the center and east side of the screen is the aquatic functions. And for those of you who use this facility often, you know that there are two separate entries into this facility. And that was one of the things that we heard very clearly from staff, that the desire to create a uniform entry point, a singular entry point for the facility, was something that was very important. So as you see the design that we're going to present, you'll see that that was a driving force in establishing our design. Next slide. The project in the RFP was originally envisioned as 3 segments. Segment 1, which you see there in purple on the left side, is the recreation components of the existing building. Segment 2 is the existing changing locker room area. And then segment 3 is primarily the equipment components for the pool itself. Our project is really focused on segments 1 and 2. But in order to develop a cohesive design, we really needed to take a look at the overall complex and the overall wish list for the city. So next slide, please. Our current project, which I'm going to present in more detail in a minute at a larger scale so you'll be able to see it, is the area outlined in red. And that is what we have identified as segment 1 and segment 2. And that will include the recreation functions, the changing rooms, locker area for the aquatics portion of the building, and then staff area for lifeguards as well. Next slide. What we identified as segment 3 is really the wish list for the future redevelopment of the pool itself into 2 bodies of water, as well as a larger classroom area and new pool equipment to support the 2 pools. So this concept that we have shown on this slide is just a high-level concept, obviously requires further development and is not part of our current project, but our current design took that into account, that in the future the city could pursue this project. So we wanted to make sure we were developing a design today that would accommodate that future development. Next slide. Again, what you see there in color is our current floor plan, and I'm going to show you now enlarged plans for this area, but essentially what you see there in yellow is the singular entry point for the facility. The yellow leads back to the multi-purpose room in orange, and then on the right-hand side or the east side of the drawing are the new aquatics components of the project. So let's start with the enlarged plan of the recreation center piece. Next slide, please. So sort of walk you through, again, we have our main entry, singular entry point, which you will be faced with a reception counter when you first come in. All of the recreation functions are to the west or to the left side of this drawing. In hours that the recreation center is closed, but the pool is open, you'll still come in through the same door and you'll be able to check in at the aquatics office with aquatic staff and go out to the pool deck. So the facility will be able to operate even in hours that the recreation center is closed. For the recreation components themselves, on the left-hand side in the front is a large game room, which accommodates many of the pool, table, ping pong, and other functions found at other recreation facilities throughout the city. That area, again, can be closed off when the recreation center itself is not open. Continuing further back into the building, we have in light blue, we have a dance room area that is able to be divided into two separate spaces. So that room can be used for dance programs, for the Tiny Tots program, multiple programs that could be taught by the recreation, led by the recreation staff. Again, it's subdividable into two separate spaces. Immediately behind that, we have the crafts room, which will include a small kitchen facility, as well as the ability for multiple different activities to go on in that space. That room also is dividable with a movable wall. So it will be possible for staff to open both the movable wall between crafts and dance room, as well as between the two dance rooms, and create one large space with all three of those rooms. The crafts room also opens out onto an outdoor space where the kiln will be located for any pottery activities that are going on. And then we do have restroom facilities that will serve the recreation center. In addition, we have a small fitness room that will serve multiple purposes. It can be used for fitness classes and activities, but it also has a view out onto the pool deck and can be used in cooler weather as observation point for parents watching their children in the shallow end of the pool who are in swim lessons and that sort of thing. So that fitness room can have many uses for us. We go to the next slide. On the north end of the building is the large multi-purpose room. This gym, if you will have a wood floor. It's designed to accommodate a high school size basketball court. It will also be striped for multiple sports, including volleyball, badminton, and pickleball. And it will also open out the back onto what we're calling a hard court area that will include outdoor hard court area for half court basketball, as well as some artificial turf area for other activities that can, in the future, open out onto the pool deck. Next slide. The final component of our current project is the segment 2 area that we talked about earlier. So in green, that will be the break room and storage for lifeguard staff. And then we have staff men's and women's restroom facilities for lifeguards. Directly accessible to the pool deck, so with a view out to the pool deck, so they'll always be nearby. In the bluish purple color there are the new changing rooms for men and women. So we have many toilets, sinks, showers, and changing room areas within those spaces for both men and women. We also have 3 family dressing rooms so that if somebody wants to utilize those with small children, those are directly accessible off the pool deck. We'll have outdoor showers directly accessible off the pool deck. And then we have what we're calling outdoor cubbies that will be used for everybody to store their bags while they're utilizing the pool space. Next slide. Our design is really intended to upgrade the facility from the somewhat dated look of the existing building. We're utilizing a variety of materials to create a very contemporary look for this building, a combination of concrete block and cast in place concrete, be very durable and low maintenance, as well as have a very identifiable look. This is the view from the northeast from the parking area. And if we go to the next slide, this will be the view as you come up Loma Lane. You'll be able to see the entry to the facility very clearly identified there, as well as the recreation and aquatics identifiers for the programs that are available in this facility. That concludes my part of the presentation. I'll turn it back to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Jeff. So the planning effort for this project is funded by Measure P, which is a temporary half-cent sales tax increase to address failing infrastructure projects. Funding for the construction has not been identified. However, the city continues to seek out grants and other opportunities to construct the project. So what are the next steps? We have a tentative project schedule that we have created, and first and foremost is take the input that we receive from the community on the schematic design that we just showed you and develop that into the design that would be presented to the community again in October of this year. Subsequently, we also will present to Measure P Citizens Oversight Committee in October. And after that, to Parks and Rec Commission in November and to City Council in December of this year or January of next year. It is one of our priorities to continue pursuing funding for construction. And we are planning to submit an application in December of this year. However, we're still looking at some of the specifics and requirements for the application. And at this time, we still don't have any specifics on that, but we, like I said, continue to look for opportunities to seek funding for the construction. After we present to City Council, the goal is to develop the design and create construction documents. We plan to finish construction documents in June of 2021. That concludes our presentation today. This presentation has been recorded and will be posted in our website, chulavistaca.gov, under the Loma Verde page. So we are going to post the presentation both in English and Spanish, and you would have another opportunity to take a look at the presentation and send questions to us. We need to move forward with the development of the design. So I would appreciate that if you have any additional questions or comments that we are not able to discuss today, that you can send them to me. My email address is pfurman@chulavistaca.gov. And if you can send them to me this week, it would be ideal. Thank you very much. And with that, we are going to open the session for questions. And you are able to submit your questions by utilizing the questions and answers icon. And also you're able to seek technical support if you, for some reason, are not able to send us the questions by using the symbol representing chat. Christina, can you share with me if you have any questions that you would like to read to us?
Yes. For one, once the project is funded, how long is construction expected to be?
Once the construction is funded, actually, you know what? Instead of me trying to answer that, I'm going to introduce Jim Summers, who is ECC president, and he can give us an estimation.
Yeah, so once the building permits are obtained, we estimate about 12 months to do the construction for segment 1 and 2, or the two parts that are part of this current project.
Next question.
If everything goes as planned, when are you guys planning to start construction?
If everything goes as planned and we are able to obtain grant funding, would able to obtain construction funding, we would be able to move forward to phase 2 of the design build contract. We don't have a timeline at this time, but it's something that we can, once we know more about funding, we can develop a timeline. Jim, would you like to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, the key is to get the funding in line. So hopefully we can get some Measure P funds and potentially some grant funds to get the project going. Ideally, we would be starting construction. The first piece of construction is actually destruction, which is to tear down the existing facility. So if funding could be put in place by next spring, we would certainly be able to start construction or destruction, as it were, either May or June, kind of tying in with the completion of the design and the permit process.
Next question.
Is there an actual plan for the actual pool changes / upgrades?
At this time, we do not have a design development for that portion of the center. That would be segment 3, which once we have additional funding to continue moving forward with the design development for segment 3, then we would be able to develop construction documents for that segment. At this time, we only have funding for the design of segment 1 and 2. Does anybody else would like to add more to that? Okay, so next question.
Have you designed a traffic pattern so that it does not interfere with Loma Verde School?
Good question. We do not have at this time a traffic pattern, but I would like to, number one, I would like to do more research about it, but also if Cheryl Goddard is on the line, she may be able to give us more information about the environmental analysis that has been done up to date.
Hi, this is Cheryl. We are currently looking to exempt this project from the California Environmental Quality Act because we are looking to keep the footprint and keep the usage to the same numbers. If that changes based on community input and design, then we'll have to relook at that and see if the traffic increases and if we need to do any traffic pattern mitigation.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl is our senior planner. Anybody else would like to add to that? Okay, next question, please.
Are you ever going to before construction?
Are we ever going to be able to support construction? We hope so. That's the main goal. And I know the city is committed to make this work. Do we know not that for now? Do we know for sure? No, we don't. But are we continue to be committed to it and seek grant funding? Yes, we are. And it's not only our team, it's also the community and management. So we hope so, yes. Next question.
Okay, we have a resident asking if they had a swim pass that was purchased earlier this year, would they still be able to use it this next year or whenever the pool opens up?
Karina, can you answer that question, please? Or team?
Hi there. Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself.
Okay.
Yes, once our facilities open back up, They have two options. They could receive a refund for their pass, or they could use what they have left on their pass as a credit to the programs that we offer.
Thank you, Karina. Next question, please.
Will the pool be open to the public during construction, or will it be closed?
Jim, would you like to address that?
Yeah, so I think you said Jim, Patricia, but yes. So yeah, one of the things we're going to work on in design development here is along with the city staff, is how to keep the aquatic side functioning temporarily, either with some modular units or some trailers, because this footprint, if we're able to do segment 2 along with segment 1, takes away the current entry to the pool. So that is definitely something that is in the planning process.
Thank you. Next question, please.
This design affect the cost of programs for community members, and will the cost of classes increase?
Christina, could you repeat the question, please? I didn't fully understand.
Yes, of course. It's a two-part question. How will this design affect the cost of programming for community members, and will the cost of classes increase?
Karina and Jeff, would you like to address that?
This is Tim. I'll answer that.
Okay.
So the cost of programming will not be affected by the development of this facility. We do know that the cost of programming may be affected by the issue with COVID and how it's affected the revenue source for the city, and to continue to recover costs to operate these programs and facilities. But the design and the construction of this will not be affecting the cost of programming.
Thank you. Next question.
Will classes be offered during construction, or will the entire facility site be shut down during construction?
Tim, Karina, or Jeff? Could you answer that question, please?
I defer to Jeff.
Sure. Obviously, the recreation side of the building will be demolished to make way for the new facility. As Jim said earlier, we are looking at options to keep the aquatics programming open, and we can explore with the city if there's ability to offer any of the other programming as well, but the building itself will come down to make room for the new building. So a lot of those interior programs will not be able to be provided.
Thank you, Jeff. Next question, please.
Have you considered adding a second window on the north wall of the fitness room? It would provide wider views to the pool.
Jeff, can you answer that?
Sure, that's a very good observation, and it's something that we can take a look at as our design development progresses.
Yeah, hey Jeff, remember that's one of the areas that they're looking at potentially putting bleachers for parents to watch the kids in the shallow end of the pool taking swim lessons. So that's why we have that a solid wall at the moment.
Right. So as we have further discussions with staff on how they want the observations of that area to occur, that's something we can take a look at.
Next question.
At this time, there are no more additional questions. If you could share the slide showing where the Q&A is, just in case someone hasn't found it.
Yes. And as I said before, the presentation will be posted online in the City of Chula Vista's website under the Loma Verde page. And the participants will be able to review the presentation again and send questions. In fact, I believe that there will be a form that will be able to be filled out and with a question. We haven't worked that out yet, but we will work with the right people to make that happen. Christina, is that correct?
Yes, and we did receive an additional question.
Okay.
At this time, there are community-based services out of this location. Will those be relocated?
Jeff?
I think that's a question for Tim and Karina.
This is Tim. So the community-based services that are based out of Loma Verde, anything that's scheduled to be in the facility in perpetuity, we'll find ways to accommodate that elsewhere. Anything that has a sunset period of when those services were planned to stop will be accommodated somewhere else, or we can work with who the organizations are that have been using the site. But at the earliest, the construction would be middle to end of next year.
Thank you, Tim. Any other questions?
Will there be a window of viewing area towards the north wall facing the hard deck?
Jeff, could you please answer that?
So I'm assuming that that's asking about the hard court area that is to the north of the multi-purpose room. And we have not looked at this point at providing windows in that wall, but it's something that could be studied further.
Great, thank you.
There are no additional questions at this time.
All right. So,
oh, I'm sorry. A follow-up to that was the comment is just concerned for security reasons.
I know. So the concern is security reasons, but
in regard to the question of the answer to the question, will there be a window of viewing towards the north wall facing the hard deck?
Understood, and it's a great comment and certainly something that we need to look further at.
Okay. So Christina, do you advise that we wait a little longer to see if we obtain more questions? Or should we conclude the presentation at this time?
We did receive about 17 questions. It doesn't look like anything coming in. We can, I think, end the recording and then post it on our website for further comments.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for participating and for providing feedback and asking questions. This is a very exciting project. We are all very committed to make this work and provide a beautiful facility to the community. Obviously, everything takes time and money, and we appreciate your interest and your patience. This is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. But it's the exciting part is that we have continued to make progress, and this is the result of it. And we still continue to work through the end of the year, through into the next year, to create construction documents for this segment. Thank you again. My name is Patricia Furman. I am the Principal Landscape Architect, and I will welcome your questions or comments via email. Thank you.